the heart of Oakland, California, a man who epitomized the turbulent era of civil rights and revolutionary activism left an indelible mark on history. Huey Newton, a co-founder of the Black Panther Party, was a charismatic leader whose unwavering commitment to racial equality and social justice stirred the souls of many. From his fierce advocacy for black empowerment to his profound intellectual pursuits, Newton's life was a roller coaster of triumphs and tragedies. In this documentary, we journey through the extraordinary life of Huey Newton, a visionary, an icon, and a symbol of defiance in the face of oppression. Huey Newton was born in Monroe, Louisiana, 1942, right during World War II. His parents, Amelia Johnson and Walter Newton, were sharecroppers and Baptist preachers. They named him after Huey Long, who used to be the governor of Louisiana. Now, Monroe is in Ouachita Parish, and unfortunately, that place has a long history of violence against black people, going all the way back to the Reconstruction era. According to a report from 2015, there were 37 documented cases of black people being lynched in that parish between 1877 and 1950, making it one of the counties with the highest number of lynchings in the southern United States. Given all the violence they faced, the Newton family decided to move to Oakland, California as part of the second wave of the Great Migration, a movement of African Americans leaving the South in search of better opportunities and to escape the harsh treatment they endured. Life wasn't easy for the Newtons, though. During Newton's childhood, they were quite poor and had to move around a lot within the San Francisco Bay Area. As a teenager, Newton had a few run-ins with the law. He got arrested a couple of times for things like gun possession and vandalism. It wasn't the best path to be on, but he managed to turn things around later in life. Growing up in Oakland, he felt this sense of shame about being black. But as we go on, you'll see that despite all the challenges and adversities he faced, Newton went on to become an important figure and made a significant impact on the civil rights movement. After high school graduation in 1959 from Oakland Technical High School, he went on to attend Merritt College. There, in 1966, he earned an Associate of Arts degree. During his early adult years, Newton found Plato's Republic to be a highly influential work. In fact, during the trial for the killing of Officer John Frey, he mentioned to the court that he had actually learned to read by studying the Republic. In his autobiography called Revolutionary Suicide, he talks about how he began questioning what was happening not only in his own family, but also in the community around him. While studying at Merritt College in Oakland, Newton became quite involved in Bay Area politics. He joined the Afro-American Association, AAA, and became a prominent member of the Beta Tau chapter of the Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. He even played a role in getting the college to adopt its first African-American history course. It was through the AAA that Newton had the opportunity to learn about black history from Donald Worden, who later changed his name to Khalid Abdullah Tariq al-Mansour. At first, Newton found Worden's ideas compelling, but later on, he came to the conclusion that Worden's solutions didn't actually work. In his autobiography, Newton expressed his skepticism, stating that the mass media gave Worden exposure for a specific reason, to mislead people away from the truth of their situation. During his time in college, Newton was an avid reader. He delved into the works of influential figures such as Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, Franz Fanon, Malcolm X, Mao Zedong, Emil Durkheim, and Che Guevara. Their writings and ideas significantly impacted his worldview and political beliefs. At Merritt College, Newton crossed paths with Bobby Seale, and their chance encounter led to the founding of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, BPP, in October 1966. Seale became the chairman, while Newton assumed the role of Minister of Defense, based on their casual conversation. The Black Panther Party was a left-wing organization that advocated for the right of self-defense for black individuals in the United States. Malcolm X played a crucial role in shaping the beliefs of the Black Panther Party, and Newton acknowledged his profound influence, describing the party as a living testament to Malcolm X's life work. The Black Panther Party gained national and international recognition for its active involvement in the Black Power movement and the political landscape of the 1960s and 70s. In his autobiography, Newton reflected on his efforts to transform what society labeled as criminal activities in the streets into something with political significance. He recognized the need for a gradual shift in mindset and actions. He aimed to redirect these daily activities for survival toward meaningful community actions. However, over time, the illegal activities of a few few individuals within the Black Panther Party started overshadowing the impactful social programs they were involved in. This mischaracterization caused them to lose some support within Black communities and among white individuals. Newton and the Panthers initiated various social programs in Oakland, making a positive impact on the community. One notable endeavor was the establishment of the Oakland Community School, which provided high-quality education to 150 children from underprivileged urban neighborhoods. They also launched the Free Breakfast for Children program and other initiatives that offered activities like dances for teenagers and martial arts training. According to John George, a supervisor in Oakland County, Newton remarkably inspired social consciousness even in individuals associated with street gangs. However, in 1982, Newton faced allegations of embezzling $600,000 of state aid intended for the Panther-founded Oakland Community School. The accusations of embezzlement led to the dissolution of the Black Panther Party. 6 years later, in March 1989, the embezzlement charges were dropped, and Newton pleaded no contest to a single count of cashing a $15,000 state check for personal use. He received a sentence of 6 months in jail and 18 months of probation. In mid-1964, Newton was convicted of assault with a deadly weapon for stabbing Odell Lee multiple times with a steak knife. He served a 6-month prison sentence. On October 27th and 28th, 1967, Newton was out celebrating after completing his probationary period. During the early hours of October 28th, Newton and a friend were stopped by Oakland Police Department officer John Frey. Recognizing Newton, Frey called for backup. When another officer, Herbert Heenes, arrived at the scene, gunfire erupted, and all 3 individuals were injured. Heenes testified that the shooting occurred after Newton had been placed under arrest, while one witness claimed Newton shot Frey with the officer's own gun during a struggle. No firearms were found on either Newton or Frey. Newton asserted that he lost consciousness during the incident after being shot by Frey. Unfortunately, Frey succumbed to his injuries shortly after being shot 4 times, while Heenes remained in serious condition from 3 gunshot wounds. David Hilliard, a Black Panther member, took Newton to Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, where he was admitted with an abdominal gunshot wound. Newton was handcuffed to his hospital bed and arrested for Frey's killing. Upon arrival, Newton requested treatment in an agitated state, and he was administered a tranquilizer to calm him down. In September 1968, Newton was convicted of voluntary manslaughter for killing Frey and received a prison sentence of 2 to 15 years. However, in May 1970, the California Appellate Court overturned the conviction and ordered a new trial. Following 2 subsequent trials resulting in hung juries, the district attorney decided not to pursue a 4th trial, leading the Alameda County Superior Court to dismiss the charges. In his autobiography, Revolutionary Suicide, Newton claimed that Heenes and Frey were shooting at each other from opposite directions during the shootout. Following his arrest on October 28, 1967, Newton pleaded not guilty to the murder of Officer John Frey. The Black Panther Party wasted no time in mobilizing a coalition to rally behind Newton and advocate for his release. In a significant show of support, the Peace and Freedom Party, a predominantly white anti-war political organization, joined forces with the Black Panther Party in December. This alliance served a dual purpose. It provided legitimacy to Newton's cause and enhanced the credibility of the party among more radical activists in the community. Under the joint leadership of the Black Panther Party and the Peace and Freedom Party, a powerful demonstration occurred on February 17th, 1968, coinciding with Newton's birthday. Around 5,000 protesters gathered in Oakland to express their solidarity with Newton. This event garnered widespread attention from international news organizations, greatly elevating the profile of the Black Panther Party. The phrase "Free Huey" became a rallying cry for the movement and appeared on buttons and t-shirts. Kathleen Cleaver, a prominent member of the Black Panther Party, emphasized that the Free Huey campaign aimed to position Newton as a symbol representing the party's core values, effectively creating a living martyr. As the trial began on July 15, 1968, it quickly transcended the individual case of Newton and evolved into a politically charged movement with racial undertones. Over the course of 2 years, encompassing Newton's original trial and subsequent appeals, the coalition steadfastly supported him. Finally, on August 5, 1970, the charges against Newton were overturned, and he was released from custody. The unwavering support from the coalition played a crucial role in achieving this outcome. After being released from prison, Newton got this invitation to visit China. But here's the interesting part. Newton decided to beat him to it and visit China first when he learned President Nixon planned to visit China in 1972. In late September 1971, Newton and his fellow Panthers, Elaine Brown and Robert Bay, embarked on the trip. By the time Newton's plane touched down at a Chinese airport, he was met by thousands of enthusiastic people waving copies of the Little Red Book and holding signs that said things like, "We support the Black Panther Party," "Down with U.S. imperialism," or "We support the American people, but the Nixon imperialist regime must be overthrown." During his stay, the Chinese arranged some pretty important meetings for Newton. He got to have dinner with ambassadors from North Korea and Tanzania, and delegations from North Vietnam and the Provisional Revolutionary Government of South Vietnam. Newton was hoping to meet Mao Zedong, the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party. But instead, he had two meetings with the Chinese premier, Zhou Enlai, and Mao's wife, Jiang Qing, joined in on one of the meetings. Newton had a pretty interesting perspective on China. He described it as a free and liberated territory with a socialist government. After Newton's Asian adventure, the Black Panther Party started incorporating North Korea's Juche ideals into their own ideology. They were clearly influenced by what they witnessed and learned during the trip. During the 1970s, there were allegations that Newton had become increasingly paranoid, developed a crack cocaine addiction, and exhibited violent tendencies. A significant incident occurred on August 6, 1974, involving the shooting of Kathleen Smith, a 17-year-old native of Oakland and a child prostitute. Smith succumbed to her injuries 3 months later. According to the prosecutor involved in the case, it is believed that Newton shot Smith following a casual exchange on the street during which she referred to him as Baby, a childhood nickname that he despised. In this case, the main witness refused to testify for fear of assassination. After 2 trials resulted in deadlocked juries, Newton was not convicted of the shooting. There are also reports of Newton assaulting his tailor over a disagreement about the price of a suit. In 1974, Newton was arrested for striking the tailor with a pistol, but he was able to secure release after posting bail. Newton obtained his bachelor's degree from the University of California at Santa Cruz in 1974. While serving time in prison in 1978, he formed a close friendship with evolutionary biologist Robert Trivers. Newton sought to pursue a graduate degree in the history of consciousness and applied to do a reading course with Trivers. Together, they published an analysis of the role of flight crew self-deception in the 1982 crash of Air Florida Flight 90. Trivers even dedicated a chapter of his autobiography to his relationship with Newton. In 1980, Newton completed his PhD in the social philosophy program of History of Consciousness at the University of California at Santa Cruz. His doctoral dissertation, titled War Against the Panthers, A Study of Repression in America, examined various aspects of the Black Panther Party's development, including the response of the U.S. federal government to the party and the assassinations of Fred Hampton, Bunchy Carter, and John Huggins. Newton drew from sources such as 2 federal civil rights lawsuits, one against the FBI and other government officials, and another initially against the city of Chicago. Newton's academic research, often overlooked, was discussed by his widow, Frederica Newton, during an episode of C-SPAN's American Perspectives program on February 18, 2006. Following the decline of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton completed numerous unpublished essays on philosophy, political theology, evolutionary biology, and political economy, which are currently held in an archive at Stanford University. Unfortunately, in the early morning of August 22, 1989, Huey Newton was fatally shot in front of 1456 9th Street in the Lower Bottoms area of Oakland, California. Shortly after the incident, Tyrone Robinson, who was on parole, was arrested as a suspect. Robinson confessed to the murder, claiming self-defense, although no evidence indicated that Newton was armed. In 1991, Robinson was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to prison for 32 years to life. He revealed that his motive was to advance within the Black Guerrilla family, a Marxist-Leninist narcotics prison gang, in order to gain control of a crack cocaine operation. Newton's funeral took place at Allen Temple Baptist Church, where he had been attending following his conversion. The service accommodated around 1,300 mourners inside the church, with an additional 500 to 600 people listening from outside. The funeral celebrated Newton's contributions to civil rights and his work on behalf of black children and families through the Black Panther Party. Newton's body was cremated and his ashes were interred at Evergreen Cemetery in Oakland. To honor the legacy of the Black Panther Party and commemorate Huey Newton, the city of Oakland erected a bust of Newton near the location where he was murdered on February 17, 2021. Additionally, a commemorative plaque was placed on this section of 9th Street, renaming it Dr. Huey P. Newton Way in his honor. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're covering all of the legends in our culture. Speaking of that, the video on the screen shares the life of Malcolm X, one of the best leaders of all time. Click on it now to watch. I'll see you over there.